So I'm going to start recording. So I'll give you just a minute to drop your name on a sticky note. And the way you do that is you can go over here to the column on the left. There's like a left side menu there. You pick up a sticky and then you basically drag it and come over here and just put Michael. Then you probably want to resize it because there are 15 people in the room. That way we can all see. Right, no one is asking any questions, so it looks like everything is working. So I'm going to start off here with a little bit of content, and then we're going to go into an exercise pretty quickly. So humans are learning machines. One of my favorite examples of this is just picking up a ball and like hitting it against the wall. If you've never done it before, and you just do it over and over again without actually trying to improve, your body will automatically improve. And there's this entire line of research in neuroscience that says that the human brain is a prediction machine. And this is particularly relevant with ChatGPT because what ChatGPT is doing is literally just trying to predict the next word. And so there's this interesting study that I just got some snippets of that says that what we're constantly doing is that we're estimating the probability of events before they happen. So we estimate the chances of things happening around us. We call that external chance, like what are the chances that I'm going to meet with this person? What are the chances that the elevator is going to be working? And also we estimate our own chance of success at a task even before we try it. So this is very important if we believe that, right? If we believe that we're constantly estimating our own chance, then that is a huge driver of our behavior, right? If our brain is estimating that we have almost no chance of being successful, that's going to give us a very different behavior than if we think that we have a high chance of being successful. And so this is why I say this is not something that can be taught explicitly, right? It's not some knowledge that you learn and apply. This is something that your brain is doing automatically. And so what we want to do is we want to sort of reset these things. And the best way I know how to do this is to put oneself in a situation and give the brain the data, give the brain the information. So the way that we change is not by saying, I'm going to change like this, right? Like doing it through willpower. We do it by giving our brain some information and then it learns and then it adjusts. And so there's actually a specific part of the brain called the anterior lateral prefrontal cortex, which is like right here about 1 inch in, that actually estimates our future chance of success, okay? And so this is really important about in determining how we relate to the environment, okay? And so if we have, what they call a well-functioning anterior lateral prefrontal cortex, then we'll make good decisions because we'll have good estimates, and if we don't, we won't, okay? So given that we're a learning machine and that we're constantly trying to adjust these probabilities, if we have a situation where we're constantly failing, we're not being successful, what that means then is that something is blocking us. Something is blocking us from learning. Okay? So if we start hitting the ball against the wall, right, we automatically learn for free. But there are some situations, which almost all of us encounter, where we come up with a situation, we fail, we come up with a situation, fail, come up with a situation, fail. So what is blocking us from learning? So there's this list of enemies of learning, which I like a lot, that comes from the field of ontological coaching. And so I have it here on these next 3 pages. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to give you 5 minutes, okay, just to look through this list. And then I want you to take 5 minutes to write down what your top 5 enemies of learning are, okay? So 5 minutes to look through the list and then 5 minutes to sticky note your 5 enemies of learning, like roughly, right? I'll give you 10 minutes total, okay? So what you're doing here is like you're going through this list And let me find one that I like and that is good for me. Oh, lack of patience. I want it now. Absolutely. I have a lack of patience, so I just double click on this. Lack of patience, want it now. Okay, and after these 10 minutes, oops, I had a little typo, so I'll fix the typo. After we've done that for 10 minutes and you've built your board, then what we'll do is we'll break out again and then you'll share. And so the way you create your board is that you just go down this column right here and you just type in your name. So just double click into this title and type in your name. So that way people will know that that's your board. If there are any questions, just feel free to shout them out. I'm going to give you now 10 minutes to go ahead and read through the enemies of learning. And good lesson for me, I need to lock these things down so that they're not slipping and sliding everywhere. Go through the enemies of learning and then fill out your board. And then in the second exercise, we'll share these out. So 10 minutes now for you to fill out your board. Okay, excellent. So now what we're going to do is go into rooms, and you're going to share with your partner what you are comfortable to share about the enemies of learning you identified. So this is part 2. So I'm just going to create the breakout rooms, and you're also going to have another 10 minutes to do this. And there might be a little bit of chaos as usual in creating the breakout rooms. If you have any questions, feel free to come back to the main room. So 10 minutes to discuss what you've learned from the enemies of learning. All right, I've just opened all of the rooms, and you can go ahead and join. Well, hello everyone, welcome back. So if we've identified enemies of learning, the obvious question is what are friends of learning? So here are some of them. I imagine that all of you have seen them before. I personally, for me, don't find the list of friends of learning to be all that helpful. That's why I like focusing a lot on the enemies of learning. So it's helpful to know these things, but I don't find them helpful in actually helping me grow. What I find useful in helping me grow is to say, oh, jeepers, I don't give other people permission to teach me. Ooh, that seems like a problem. What should I do instead? Oh, I should be curious and self-aware and so forth. Another pro tip is to have mentors. I think something that I've heard many people say is that it's very difficult to look at oneself and see all of the blind spots, right? It's as if, we're all walking around with like a fly in our glasses and we see this fly everywhere and we think it's in the world when it's actually in us. And so having a mentor saying, oh, look, there's a fly on your glasses, that's what's causing you problems is often very helpful. But the technique that we're going to focus on today is to use simulations. And in just a minute, we're going to be playing this very simple simulation. All of you are going to be playing the simulation, whoever wants to. And we're all going to be interacting and looking at that. There are some key ideas, I think, about simulation. So number one is that when it comes to operating in this VUCA world, it's not a set of knowledge, explicit knowledge book learning that helps us. So it's something like learning how to ride a bike. And you can't learn how to ride a bicycle at a webinar. And so you actually have to go and ride the bike, right? You can't read a description of the physics of a bicycle and say, you're supposed to move your legs here and then jump on the bike, right? You actually need to get on the bike, get feedback from the bike. And so that's what simulations help us do. Now, what are good ways to get simulations? So here I've listed a whole bunch of different ways to get simulations. The one that we're going to be using are computer games. And we're going to be using this very simple simulation called Nell Watson's Founder Life, which is like a choose your own adventure. And so I'm going to just show you what it looks like. Here's what it looks like. We're going to click Run Game. It runs inside of the browser. But what I want to do now is decide who is going to be the team that is playing the game, so to speak, and who are the observers. I'm open to the possibility that some of you want to observe and some of you want to interact and be in the simulation. It's a very simple simulation. It's not like a fast twitch. You just read something, you make a choice, you read something, and you make a choice. And we'll do that for at least 10 minutes and 3 decisions, and then we'll have a debrief afterwards, okay? So if you want to be part of the group having a discussion and making a decision, put your name on a sticky note and put it inside of the fishbowl. If you don't want to be in the simulation doing the thinking, and you just want to watch the people, then you just keep your sticky note outside of the fishbowl. So go ahead and take a minute, put your name on a sticky note, put it inside of the fishbowl or leave it outside. So I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, awesome. It looks like people have made a decision, and it looks like Sam and Paul are going to be playing the simulation. Now, I have a question for you, Sam and Paul, which is the simulation actually only runs in non-WebKit browsers. The one that I know best is Firefox. It would be great if one of you could run it inside of Firefox or some other non-WebKit browser. Do one of you have Firefox and are willing to share your screen?
Sorry, I don't have Firefox.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would be willing to share my screen. And also, my machine's not running particularly well today. So.
Okay, awesome.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I'm running on a Chromebook, so that first name answers your question.
That does answer my question. So I will then run on Firefox and we'll look at my screen. Okay, so I will just basically narrate a little bit, and then once we get through to the actual start, we will let Paul and Sam just talk out loud, and then you tell me what to do. So here's what the game looks like, and all of you will be able to play this offline after the.
So, sorry, Michael, could we make one more call for active participants?
Oh, one more call for active participants, yes. So we have
Just
a bunch of.
move your sticky into the fishbowl.
Okay. Yes. Okay. One more active call for participants. Does anyone else want to participate? Anyone else want to participate? Hey. Okay, we have Tim. All right. Tim, do you happen to have Firefox, or do you want to run it? Okay.
I'll let you run it.
You'll run it?
No, I'll let you run it.
Okay, cool. So Paul, do you want to share your screen? I mean, Tim, do you want to share your screen?
Sorry, Michael, I think Tim said he would happily let you run it.
He would happily let me run it, so I misunderstood. Awesome. Okay.
No, that's, yeah, I picked up on that, don't worry.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so we're back in business. Okay, so we're going to run the game. We have Sam, Paul, and Tim. Okay, clicking go. Okay, now you're just reading on this, and I need one person out of Sam, Paul, and Tim to tell me when to click or tap to move forward.
You may click.
Okay, click.
This is Air Mouse.
Sam, just to say your microphone is rubbing, buddy.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all right, no.
Hopefully it's better now.
Thanks.
Click.
Okay, what name do you guys want to have for your new team?
The Three Amigos.
Three Amigos. Okay, let me see if I can type that in. Oh, shucks. That's what I thought I had asked. Okay, here we go.
Oh, it's okay.
Okay, which self-portrait feels most right to you?
The
Oh,
dude
let's
in
go
the
with the
top left-hand
lower
corner.
or right.
Lower right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll do. Yeah.
Click. No.
Okay.
Click. 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 Click.
Okay.
Okay, click.
Next.
Click.
Next.
Click. 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 Click.
So this is the first decision.
Sure.
The three of you need to select one of the following.
We need to obviously agree on a consensus.
Yeah, for me, I would pick the bottom one.
So Sam,
I'd go
Tim,
for
what are you
Rich.
thinking? You want to strike it rich, do you? Why not? Let's do it. Let's go. Let's go, Michael.
Is that consensus with 2 votes?
I think that'll do.
Oh, it's majority? Okay, works for me.
Okay, I want to strike it
Click.
rich.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Click. Click.
Next.
Click.
Now we have to choose. Do we have to choose? No. Okay. It's a no for me, but I don't know about you guys.
I could go for yes. So
No,
third
Niv.
vote carries it.
Yeah.
That's 2
Tim,
no's.
was that a no?
Okay, so we can only had 2 no's, so we go with no. Majority
Yeah.
rule, okay?
Yeah.
Somehow we've got more money. Okay, click. Oh, Roger. Click.
Next. Ouch.
Click.
Next.
Click.
Next. Yeah, next.
Decision.
Decision. So which of the two
Go at the
appeals to you
bottom.
guys? Yeah, I was going to say this will keep me going, Skylar.
Okay, we'll go with that.
What? Is this
Oh.
real?
Oh. Because
Oh,
no one
no.
would say that to Skylar.
Is that part of the simulation?
Oh, here we go.
Oh. Oh, wow, it is pricing, okay. Click. Ah,
It's the top one. Ask for help in online forums.
Yeah, that's always my go-to.
okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Ask for help.
I just want more money. What's happening? We're not making much money, guys. Come on.
Click.
We're day 3. We've already made $1,000.
Click. Click.
Next. Next. It's going to be time for fun, surely. It's all
Yeah,
about the balance.
that's
right?
my vote.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Time for fun.
Next. Next. How do we deal with this? So do we go on a long walk, or do we just do some stretches and get back to work? My vote's the top one, go on a long walk.
I would
Fair
go for
enough.
the walk.
Bit of
Yeah,
a change of scenery, you know.
yeah.
Right, go on a long walk.
Click. 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 I go
Gotta
for the second one.
focus.
Yeah, rain check.
Yeah. Yeah. We're fully charged, aren't we, for whee.
Click.
Next.
Click. Click. I think hurting.
Yeah, I'm gonna go that way too.
Ready?
Click. Click. Phew.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Okay.
We made it.
Oh, we got points.
Incredible. Congratulations on that. Perfect scores. 100, 100, 100. Wow, amazing. Okay, so now I'm just going to send you into a debrief. I think I'll do probably 3 people per room, so it might be 3 minutes per person, roughly, right? Obviously, let the conversation flow. This is a partial Tyagi debrief. How do you feel? What happened? What did you learn? And obviously, debrief it and discuss it in any way you want. So I'm going to just open all the rooms again, and maybe there'll be a little bit moving around at the beginning, but giving you 10 minutes to debrief what you've just seen. Hey, Christopher Lee, do you want to be thrown into a breakout room?
Yes, I would love that. Thank you.
Hmm. Okay, it should be on your screen. Hey, welcome back, everyone. So we're going to finish up here with just a little bit of content. So VUCA Banny, how to know that you're in a situation that particularly requires VUCA skill. How do you respond and how to practice? So we started off with the end. So my best answer for how to practice is to run simulations of various sorts. Now we'll talk a little bit about how to know. And so I'm here back on the Miro board. And so we're always in these states, supposedly, nowadays. But how do you know when we need to turn it up a notch? So one simple tip is just to observe these parameters, similar to what we saw in the simulation, right? Like your energy, your mindfulness, your cash, and you're watching them move up and down. And when they exceed your previous high and low, that's a particular place to look out for. So in that situation, in that simulation that we just saw, if mindfulness dropped before your previous low, then you would say, oh, I need to do something here. And what makes this completely non-trivial, of course, is that multiple things can move down or can move up simultaneously, right? And so then it's not completely obvious what to do. It may not be a simple thing of stop doing that, stop doing that, start doing this other thing. The other thing I want to caution is that very often people provide a judgment on these things. Like, I want my weight to be low, not high, right? And so if it's low, I don't need to do anything. If it's high, I do need to do something. Or I want to be more wealthy, not less wealthy. So if I become more wealthy, I don't need to do anything. If I become less wealthy, then I need to worry about it. My suggestion is that you just always think of these in a non-judgmental way and just think of these as regime changes. So think of like being on a different planet. So you might say that making more money is better, but you're on a different planet, you're in a different world, and so now you need to invoke your VUCA skills. So either side, the quote unquote good side or bad side, bears examination. And then when you have this perspective, then what you're constantly going to be doing is asking, so what are the new rules, the new tactics and goals? Whereas what happens most of the time is that we say, oh, we're in the same situation that we were in yesterday, and we just need to work the system, right? As opposed to asking again and again, what game am I in? And so here's how to respond. And this is something that I'm going to be covering in far more depth in the next webinar, which is to take an information theoretic approach and ask what decisions, what actions allow you to extract the most value. So a simple way to think about this is that you're on a ship and you're sailing along, and then one day you're marooned and you're on this island and you don't know anything about the island. What actions do you want to take to learn the most about the island? Do you want to stay in one place for 24 hours? Do you want to run around as quickly as you can for 24 hours? What's the best way of extracting as much information as possible? And there are both some qualitative and quantitative things that can be done. And I'll probably be discussing that in the next webinar. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you today. Focus on the simulation and on the enemies of learning. I would love it if you would give me some feedback now. As I mentioned up top, I'm preparing to teach this 2-day webinar on VUCA skills. And I'm basically going through these mini webinars and taking it piece by piece. So 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour. So all of the webinars are going to be substantially different, and you're free to join all of them, some of them. But what I would love to have now is your feedback so that when I teach the 2-day seminar, it'll be as good as possible. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to fill this out. So what stood out for you the most in this webinar on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the best? How likely are you to recommend it? This is the standard NPS thing. And then how disappointed would you be if you had not attended this webinar? Very disappointed, somewhat disappointed, or not disappointed. And then what is one thing I can do to improve this? So would love it if you help me out by doing this. And then after this, I'll be open for questions. And then I'll also invite you to sign up here if you want to receive notification for when the workshop is going to take place. So 5 minutes to give me feedback on this. I really greatly appreciate it.
Sorry, I can't access the Miro for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe I have the wrong link.
Yes, you may have the wrong link. Let me put a better link, hopefully a better link into the chat. Thanks for alerting me to that.
Thank you.
Right. Here we go. Boop. There it is. All right, thank you all for that feedback. I'll wrap up with just two invitations. One is that I'm doing these webinars and I'm going through the 2-day webinar. So each of these webinars is a tiny snippet of a 2-day webinar. So they're going to be substantially different. So the next one will not just be a tiny tweak on this one. It'll probably focus on the decision theoretic approach to figuring out what to do when you're in a new regime, a new planet. And so feel free to join as many of those as you want or invite your friends. They're all free. The second invitation is that if you want to be notified about when the 2-day paid workshop launches, just click on this form right here and you'll be added to a list and then I'll inform you. So I'm going to stop sharing here and then I'm just going to open it up to any questions, comments, thoughts that anyone has. I'll be here for about another 10 minutes. So any questions, comments, thoughts that people have?
Just really a question. How does this particular part of the exercises fit into the wider context of the rest of the 2-day training? Where
Yeah.
would you put this?
Yeah, so I'm going to put this pretty close to the front because I think that driving everything with a simulation is the way to go. You know, for me, a good question to ask is, what is the dream scenario at the end of the 2-day workshop? And I think the dream scenario is that people have had the opportunity to experience a shift that will help them actually improve in a VUCA environment, high VUCA environment, so to speak. And so starting really quickly with the simulation is the way that I would hope for it worked. And one clean idea I have is to run 2 simulations in a row. So you run a simulation the first day, and your brain changes overnight, and then you come in the next day and you run another simulation, and you notice yourself being very, you know, a lot different.
Okay. Just another question. Sorry, on that same thread, there's a couple of the questions or comments around sort of outcomes and learning objectives. So
Yes.
you just alluded to some of those there in your response. Could you bring some more sort of concreteness to what you envisage those overall, you know, not blow by blow, but what those outcomes, learning objectives, outcomes you're looking to achieve?
Yeah, so the challenge with using learning objectives is that those are typically sort of very cognitive or behavior based, where what I'm looking for with this is to support a change in belief systems, which are, you know, tacit and underlying. And so that's the thing that's sort of difficult to tease out. But certainly on the things that are cognitive and obvious, it's just to give people awareness that this is a thing that causes an enormous number of problems, right? Basically, we start playing a new game, we go to a new planet, we think we're playing the old game. So number one, there's a lot of emotional grief around that often. And number two, we often spend a lot of time saying, how can I reverse that? You know, how can I go back to playing the old game, which I liked playing, instead of living inside of the new game? And so we spend a lot of time as individuals just like losing. And so that's going to be like the big aha. And then the second thing is just a set of technical things, right? Like understanding that you can trace these parameters for yourself, like, you know, weight and wealth and so forth. And then just look at the highs and lows. And then when it pierces the high and low, then you might say, oh, this is time for me to pay attention. And then the third thing, the third category is this thing that I've talked about, which is this tacit learning, where you just change your belief system, your brain changes in some sense, its prediction mechanism changes. And then as a result of that, you're more fluid and more fluent inside of the VUCA environment. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, interesting. It's definitely left me a lot more curious to explore it with you, Michael, which I guess is part of the, which is good.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining, Paul. I appreciate it.
I just want to second the conversation you just had with Paul. And there were a number of learning objectives comments, but ultimately, when I signed up for this, aside from spending an hour or two with Mike De La Maza is not a bad investment. Sorry, Michael De La Maza. I thought maybe it would be a more theoretical approach. And so people understanding what they should expect, what they should get out of this, I think is quite helpful.
Thank you.
I have to say also, it appears that you're in a stress situation. You're in quite a small white room.
Yeah, I'm in like a cushy telephone booth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in a very nice telephone booth at a library.
So,
Chris, can you say something more about Westworld? Your chat comment?
Yes, Westworld. The idea behind Westworld is that we are all living in a virtual simulation, and that none of what we're experiencing is actually reality. It's a TV show series.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you.
Now that's interesting.
What was that film with Jim Carrey, where he was actually in a TV
Truman
series?
Show.
Truman Show. That's it. That's the one.
Looks like we've come to our end today. So thank you so much, all of you. And thank you so much for all the feedback and for participating today. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll share the recording out on my LinkedIn, etc.